evening. Good evening as you all filter in. Thank you for joining. We will start in 2 minutes. All righty, good evening. We can go ahead and start. I want to be mindful and respectful of everyone's time. Thank you all for joining us for our August Fairfax NAACP monthly meeting. We have a great meeting in store. The next slide, please. Okay, we will begin with our mission. The Fairfax County NAACP is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization whose mission is to achieve equity, political rights, and social inclusion by advancing policies and practices that expand human and civil rights, eliminate discrimination, and accelerate the well-being, educational, and economic security of Black people and all people of color. Next slide, please. I'll be followed by religious affairs, please.
Thank you, Madam President. I have a poem by David Stendhal Rast called You, the One. You, the one from whom on different paths all of us have come, to whom on different paths all of us are going. Make strong in our hearts what unites us. Build bridges across all that divides us. United, make us rejoice in our diversity. And at one in our witness to your peace, a rainbow to your glory.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, President's report. I'm going to be very quick because I don't have a lot to report on, but what I do have is if you are a member of the D9, if you are a member of the D9, AKAs, Zetas, Iotas, SG Roll, Eastern Star, Mason, so on and so forth, what I would like for you to do is in the chat, put what chapter you're in, the president's name and the president's email, and our membership chair will capture that. What we're trying to do is build up our alliances and our partnerships with the D9. If you are a member of any organization that you think would be a great fit for us to partner with and do things with, please put that in there as well. The name of the organization, the president or chair, as well as a good email for them. What I would also like for you all to do is if you are a member of a church, please put the name of the church in the chat, the lead minister, and a good email for that minister. Religious affairs and membership will capture all. So I have that assignment for you all. We have an AXO. The AXO chair isn't here, but it will be more to follow on our AXO. For those of you who don't know what AXO is, it is a competition that is held yearly during our national convention. So next year, we will be taking some kids to Chicago to compete. Let me see. As you all know, we are having our gala October 18th. Right now, tickets are sold out. We are at capacity. However, there is a waiting list. With that said, if you own a small business, if you are a member of an organization, a church, things of that nature, you can still, you can, hold on one second. If you're a member of a church, organization, D9, anything like that, you can buy an ad. We have quarter page, half page, full page. Can someone please put the link to purchase an ad in the chat? That would be great. You all can purchase ads at different prices. So please take full advantage of our ad space. Space is going quickly. We're only allocated so many pages. So again, if you are part of an organization or anything like that, please put the please get you can purchase an ad. You can purchase an ad and someone will put the link in the chat for you. If you have a small business or you know someone with a small business who would like to be a vendor, we have 4 spots left to be a vendor for this year's gala. Again, we are not selling any more tickets to the gala itself. However, we are selling ad spaces and we have vendor spots for $200 and we only have room for 4 vendors. 2 of the spots are already gone. So please keep that in mind. Space is limited, time is approaching, and I will let the committee chairs reiterate on those points. Next slide, please. There you have it. Okay, Secretary's report.
Madam President, I'm pleased to report that our wonderful Assistant Secretary has prepared both the June and July minutes, and they were sent around on Sunday with the announcement of this meeting. I would entertain a motion for those and a second for those to be passed and approved.
Did you make the motion?
No, but I am entertaining a motion. Is anybody going to make the motion?
Diana, can you make the motion real quick?
I would like to make a motion that the minutes be passed and approved from our last meeting.
Okay, Diana, you want a second?
Yes, second.
Okay, all in favor that the minutes are being passed for June and July, say aye.
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 Make sure you're off mute when you say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Any abstains? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam
Next slide,
President. That's
please.
my report.
Yes, sir. Next slide, please. Before we move, no, go ahead. Treasurer Monique, you here?
Good evening. Report that our accounts are in good standing. There's nothing further to report.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay, before we move to the advocacy reports, we have some of our union friends and some of our grassroots organizers here with us. So we will start with the president of the Fairfax Education Association. I believe I saw Carla. I'm trying to go through these names. If Carla is on here, go ahead. Carla?
Aloha, everyone. Sorry, I'm driving, so cannot be on camera, but thrilled to join you all in a new school year. Everything is going well, and very proud of all of our education workers and super excited to partner with all of you as we continue our work together.
Carla, we are developing a union committee. We're able to have a we're able to have labor union committees, which we're building one now, but we would like to do a government affairs subcommittee as well with the unions. So please put the word out to some of your union members that they can be a part of the government affairs subcommittee for the Fairfax NAACP. So please spread the word. Wait, I can't say it. Shaya Mali, my good friend. I'm so sorry I can't say your name. But what's going on in the community? Shaya Mali Hoff. Okay. Anybody else representing an organization? I know Ms. Graves is here.
Yes, and I put the information. Hello, Madam President and everyone. Good evening. I put the information in the chat box that we're now hosting a golf tournament on Friday, September the 12th, 2025. Shotgun starts at 8 a.m. So we're definitely looking for players and sponsors. And this is to actually help our football team get started back in Gum Springs. They've been going on for 44 years, and for the last 2 years, we've just not had enough funds and children to have a football. So we now have 2 teams. So we're trying to get money together to sustain those 2 teams. Thank you.
Can you send the flyer to our communications?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anybody else representing any kind of organization, community organization, grassroots? Before we move on to committee reports, anybody from the D9 who has anything going on? Your organization has anything going on?
Madam President, Shane Jones.
Deshane, is you?
Yeah, it's me.
Okay, go ahead.
Really quickly, I know I'm driving, I'm en route, and I actually have to jump to another meeting. However, I just got elected president of the National Panel and Council of Northern Virginia. So we'd love to entertain a partnership, and see if there's some magic that we can create in the community and help each other, achieve our mission. So I'm in charge of 15 Greek chapters now. So by all means, if there's a way that we can partner together, I'd love to do so and talk about how we can collaborate.
Absolutely. And Deshane is also the chair of our gala committee. A few weeks back, Deshane was volunteering at the Black Book Block Party where I went and bought a few books. And I spoke with him and the organizer, and our branch next year will be a partner in bringing the Black Book Block Party to Fairfax County. So Deshane will be working on that. If you all would like to help facilitate that. It's going to be in May. I believe we said May or somewhere during the summer month, spring or summer. So when he starts planning for that, you all can join in on the fun. Okay, Robert is here. Robert Wrigley.
Hi, no, I'm just with SCPS Pride. We'd love to partner also. I'll drop the chairman's contact information.
Thank you, Rob.
Yeah.
All righty, so we will start with budget, followed by criminal justice. Thank you.
It's Les Shockley here, Budget Chair. Nothing to report for this month, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Criminal justice.
Hey, yeah, so I can just report on the biggest thing we've got going on, which is our expungement clinic. I don't know if we've got the slide up for that.
We do.
It's up.
No, this
Okay,
is for this one's for the this is for the for Mary's screening. There you go.
oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we've got our expungement clinic coming up in a couple of weeks, September the 13th, in the morning in Alexandria at the Blood Valley Community Center. We've got a good number of spots open. I think we've got about 50 or so spots left. So if you know someone who has an eligible criminal record, let them know about this. There's no filing fee needed. You just need to bring copies of the warrant of arrest for each charge, and we can help work on it. Does anyone have any questions?
The link to register is in the chat.
Okay, can you go back, please, to our... Okay, education does not have anything to brief. Our chair and co-chair are both at back to school night. So they have nothing to brief. Then we will go to our affordable housing, followed by Freedom Fund.
Okay, hi, Mary Payton, Chair of Affordable Housing. Yeah, put the fault lines back up. We are co-sponsoring a film showing, a film screening called Fault Lines. It's a documentary about a group trying to build an affordable housing apartment building in a single family neighborhood, as we do here from time to time. This one was shot in California, and it takes you through the whole process, and it gives you the views of all the different actors in this drama. And we've been supporting affordable housing in Fairfax County and building affordable housing in all parts of the county, not just in a few parts. And I've often encountered opposition from local homeowners. So we're very interested in this whole dialogue and discussion about it having affordable housing in neighborhoods where it was previously not, and how people can accept or not accept that kind of a new neighbors coming into their community. So this film is going to be shown. It's going to be a panel discussion afterwards. The Falls Church mayor was the instigator of this. She's from California and has some experience with this and that in the place where the film was shot. And she will be on a panel, as will Chairman Jeff McKay and County Supervisor Dahlia Palchak, along with Delegate Marcus Simon, and a number of other people, including some affordable housing builders. And it will be moderated by Stuart Schwartz of the Smarter Growth Coalition in this area. So I think it's going to be a really good panel, a really good discussion. There's going to be a happy hour afterwards at a local establishment. It's at Angelica in Mosaic. If you try to register, you may get put into a wait list, but when they get the wait list to a certain point, they're going to move into a bigger theater. So just register and you should get cleared shortly. Here's the link to the registration, and you will get this poster in your email, I think, tomorrow. So enjoy that. The other things we're working on are following the heat relief efforts in the county again this year that we were instrumental in instituting about 2 or 3 years ago. And we are also working on comments to a number of new policy documents regarding land use policy and mobile home park policies. So that's it for now. Come to Fault Lines.
Thank you, Mary. Can we go back to the list? Okay. Freedom Fund, legal redress, you're going to go last because after you do your briefing, you will introduce the speaker for the evening. So Freedom Fund and then membership.
Hi, everyone. This is Evelyn Spain. But Deshane, would you like to give the status since you're the chair of the Freedom Fund Committee?
Deshane had to leave.
Oh, he had to leave.
Yeah.
Okay. So the information we have is we are just about sold out. We are rescrubbing the list to see if we can make room for 1 or 2 more people. Next year, we are going to have to move to a larger venue, which is good news because we have outgrown the Tyson's Marriott. We still have, I'd say we have 3, possibly 4 vendor spots. We have 1 person who is interested in being a vendor. We'd love to have ads President Nikki has said that we would like to have ads from small businesses, from any of the D9s, anybody who would like to showcase what they have to offer to the community would be fabulous. We still have plenty of room. Well, I need to coordinate with the communications group, but we still have room for ads moving forward. Are there any questions that you have that I might answer?
I just wanted to say I'm still working on that a little bit.
All right. Thank you, Diana. Diana is helping us with vendors also. So thank you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Okay. Membership had to step out, but her notes are in the chat. Political action, religious affairs.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few things that we are planning for the upcoming election season. The first is on September 13th. I'm sorry, September 16th, we're going to be holding a What's on the Ballot, What's at Stake, Why Your Vote Matters. We're asking several community partners to come out and tell us what's important that we should be looking for in this upcoming election. It is via Zoom. You may register to attend, and I'll put that link in the chat. Also, in October, we are going to host a candidate forum, a meet and greet, I should say, in which we are going to invite all of the candidates that are running for the Virginia House this upcoming election. So look for more details. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Religious affairs?
I just wanted to make sure people knew that the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's prayer breakfast is taking place on September 27th, and we will be attending that. 4 of our members and our branch has a table. And that's it.
Thank you. Are people, Ms. Pam, are people putting their churches in the information?
I've gotten a few.
You got a few? Okay.
Yes.
Great. Scholarship, Daryl, scholarship, let's talk.
Yes, ma'am. I'm here. This is Daryl Allen, the chair of the scholarship committee. And so, one of the committee's primary responsibilities is overseeing the Michelle Leach Scholarship. We are currently exploring ways to strengthen the scholarship program, either by increasing the amount of the award that we currently give out, which is $500 to $700, or by expanding the number of $500 scholarships that we offer to deserving Fairfax students. So one of the ways that we are working on achieving this goal is considering a partnership with Double Good. Now, Double Good is a company that sells popcorn and other type of snack products, but an organization can partner with Double Good for like a 4 to 5 day fundraiser, and then a portion of the sales will come directly. If we do partner with Double Good, will directly come to us to benefit the scholarship fund. So we think we kind of coordinating this right now, but we think we actually going to have something in place to announce just the fundraiser by next month. And if it works out well, we will hold another one in early 2026 before we actually start soliciting people to apply for the scholarship. And just the last thing I want to mention is that we, as a committee, have begun to have conversations with other scholarship and educational committees from the NAACP branches in North Virginia, and also as far as communicating with like-minded organizations to just the partner, maybe see if we could partner with them in the future, and just kind of, if we can't collaborate, kind of share some ideas that kind of make our respective initiatives a lot better. And that's it for me. Does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we are making good time. Legal redress. And once you do your briefing, you can introduce our guest speaker, Meredith.
Great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Meredith Havasey, Chair of the Legal Redress Committee. The only thing I have for briefing is that we are looking for new members. We had several summer interns who are now back at school, so we could certainly use more help. You do not need to be a lawyer to be on the committee. Any help is appreciated. So if you're interested, my email address is right there on the screen. Please send me an email and we can go from there. Tonight, we do have a special guest speaker with us, Dr. Bryon Garner. He is a U.S. Navy veteran and retired federal contracting officer who now serves as chair of the Fairfax County Police Civilian Review Panel, where he works to improve police legitimacy and foster trust between law enforcement and the community through accountability and transparency. He has been on the panel since 2022 and has extensive experience in civilian oversight practices. He is also a certified force science analyst with specialized training in factors that influence human behavior during high stress encounters, which gives him unique insight into police use of force scenarios. In an academic role, he is also an adjunct humanities professor at Barber Scotia College, one of America's historically Black colleges and universities. He's also the author of an upcoming book and host of a web series that explore Black military service. Please welcome our special guest, Dr. Bryon Garner.
Thank you, Meredith, and good evening, everyone. I want to thank the leadership of the NAACP chapter this evening. It's a pleasure to be invited to speak with you this evening. I want to share some of my perspectives on the state of civilian oversight here in Fairfax County, keeping in mind that the opinions and views expressed this evening do not represent the official positions, policies, or opinions of the entire Fairfax County Police Civilian Review Panel, but any recommendations are subject to a vote of the entire panel. So with that being said, this evening I want to briefly discuss the origins of the panel for the benefit of those who may not be familiar with it. And then what I will do is explain the strengths and weaknesses as I see them of our current state of affairs, state of operations. As I conclude, I will discuss some ideas on how we as a panel and as a community can improve civilian oversight in Fairfax County. So let's begin our journey. The Fairfax County Police Civilian Review Panel, which I will refer to henceforward as the panel, is a 9-member independent civilian oversight body established by the Board of Supervisors on December 16th, 2016. The panel arose from community frustration over police transparency after officer-involved shootings, especially the 2013 fatal shooting of John Greer by FCPD officers. This incident, along with ongoing community advocacy led by groups such as Citizens Coalition for Police Accountability, contributed to the formation of the ad hoc Police Practices Review Commission, which ultimately recommended the establishment of civilian oversight. So the panel consists of 9 county residents appointed by the Board of Supervisors for 3-year terms, with members eligible for no more than 2 consecutive terms. The panel operates independently of the police department and reports directly to the Board of Supervisors. Its mission is to enhance police legitimacy, to build and maintain trust between the citizens of Fairfax County, the Board of Supervisors, and the Fairfax County Police Department by reviewing certain FCPD investigations to ensure accuracy, completeness, thoroughness, objectivity, and impartiality. The panel reviews completed FCPD Internal Affairs Bureau investigations involving complaints of abuse of authority or serious misconduct by officers. Citizens can file complaints directly with the panel or through the FCPD. And if they are unsatisfied with the internal investigation, they may request a review by the panel. The panel's review authority is specifically limited to evaluating the accuracy, completeness, thoroughness, objectivity, and impartiality of investigations, not making disciplinary decisions. Under Fairfax County's hybrid oversight model, the panel addresses cases of abuse of authority and serious misconduct. Meanwhile, the independent police auditor, which I'll talk a little bit about later, reviews officer-involved shootings, in-custody deaths, and use of force incidents. So the panel walks a fine line. I want to make that, clear. I'm not sure if that's often understood. Per our bylaws, we can disagree with the findings of an Internal Affairs Bureau investigation, but only within the context of accuracy, completeness, thoroughness, objectivity, and impartiality. The panel also has the authority to make policy recommendations to enhance police training and practices. So a little bit about what I see as the strengths of our current state of operations. The panel has developed several key strengths since its inception. It holds monthly public sessions to promote transparency in its operations. It has successfully established formal procedures and bylaws for conducting reviews and has maintained independence from the police department. The panel also has built collaborative relationships with both FCPD, and we're working to build more our community, build our relationships with community stakeholders such as yourself, encouraging information sharing and policy discussions. Additionally, Fairfax County's hybrid civilian oversight model provides comprehensive oversight by dividing the responsibilities between the panel and the independent police authority auditor. This structure ensures that appropriate review by specialized entities addresses different types of police misconduct allegations. Despite these strengths, however, the panel faces some significant structural limitations that reduce effectiveness. For example, the panel has consistently advocated for greater authority, particularly the ability to conduct independent investigations rather than merely reviewing completed internal affairs investigations. There has been resistance to expanding oversight, which requires building more trust with key stakeholders. Another challenge is that according to the panel bylaws, and I'm speaking specifically of Article 11, the panel can require attendance but not compel testimony. It can request records, and the county executive shall cause submission of such. So it's a bit of we can ask, and the county executive will help facilitate it, but we don't have the full authority to compel testimony. So with that in mind, the panel's authority under Article 11 of our bylaws is a much weaker form of traditional subpoena power, leading experts to describe it as being dependent on outside authorities controlling access to the data, evidence, and witnesses and personnel files that that are needed for meaningful oversight. Resource constraints are another major weakness. The panel has limited staff and budget, which restricts its ability to conduct community outreach, process cases, and perform thorough analysis. Civilian oversight experts consistently emphasize that adequate funding and staffing are crucial factors for effective oversight. The National Association for Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement has conducted extensive research showing that most oversight agencies operate with minimal resources. According to NAACP's Civilian Oversight Agency Directory survey, nearly 70% of oversight agencies reported budgets that are less than or equal to 0.5%. That's 0.5% of their subject law enforcement agency's budget, with only 9% of the agencies having budgets over 1% of the overseen law enforcement agency's budget. The standards, for just context, is 1 to 1.5% of the overseen agency's budget. Here in Fairfax County, the combined budget for the police civilian review panel and the independent police auditor is about $599,953 for FY26, which is roughly 0.2% of the FCPD's budget. So we have a ways to go. I want to talk a little bit about the Independent Police Auditor's Office. The Office of the Independent Police Auditor was established by the Board of Supervisors on September 20th, 2016. And in response to recommendations from the Ad Hoc Police Practices Review Commission. It became operational on April 17th, 2017. The OIPA's, and that's Office of Independent Police Auditor, the OIPA's mission is to bolster trust between the citizens of Fairfax County and the Fairfax County Police Department by providing accountability, fairness, transparency, and trust in the complaint system and investigative process. The independent police auditor's responsibilities include monitoring and reviewing administrative investigations conducted by FCPD Internal Affairs Bureau into officer-involved shootings, in-custody deaths, and use of force cases in which an individual is killed or seriously injured. The auditor monitors and reviews FCPD administrative investigations of public complaints and of use of force, and coordinates with the Office of the Police of the panel, the Police Civilian Review Panel, to provide accessible, safe, impartial, and responsive intake for complaints against FCPD and its employees. So a little bit about the relationship between the two offices. The relationship between the OIPA and the Office of the Police Civilian Review Panel, OPCRP, represents a carefully designed division of oversight responsibilities. The OIPA exclusively handles citizen complaints concerning the use of force. In contrast, complaints concerning allegations of serious misconduct or abuse of authority are handled by FCPD. And there are, and wait, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. All right. And the Police Civilian Review Panel. In February 2022, the Office of the Police Civilian Review Panel was established to provide direct support to the panel and operate autonomously. Just a little background on that. When I started my service on the Civilian Review Panel, we did not have an Office of the Civilian Review Panel. So now that office has the panel liaison, which some of you may have met, and we also have an analyst in the office. This is something that's a part of our growth. So we're glad to have them. We've needed them, and their roles are just invaluable. And so it's to help the panel to operate autonomously from the OIPA. However, when the Office of the Panel's executive director resigned in 2023, OIPA resumed providing day-to-day operational support to the panel until the position could be filled, and that position was filled March of last year. That gentleman's name is Craig Miles. Great man, great resource for us, and he's been just amazing. This collaboration demonstrates the interconnected nature of civilian oversight in Fairfax County, with both offices working together to ensure comprehensive coverage of police accountability issues. Despite these strengths, however, the panel faces significant structural limitations that hinder its effectiveness. The panel has consistently advocated for greater authority, particularly the ability to conduct independent investigations rather than merely reviewing completed internal affairs cases. However, as reported in Fairfax Now, the FCPD has opposed those expansions, creating ongoing tension is too heavy of a word, but ongoing resistance between the oversight body and the department it oversees. I don't want to misrepresent that. I want to make clear that we do have a good, strong relationship with FCPD, but as we want to grow more in our oversight role, there is some reticence to advocate for that, help us advocate for that authority. So let's talk a little bit then about the legal framework that constrains our civilian oversight authority. Virginia state law presents additional barriers to meaningful civilian oversight that exceed those in other jurisdictions. Unlike states such as Maryland, which enacted a comprehensive police accountability law granting local oversight bodies subpoena power and independent investigatory authority, Maryland Coalition for Justice, Virginia offers limited legal support for civilian oversight. This creates a challenging legal environment in which oversight groups must negotiate for access to information and cooperation rather than relying on the apparent legal authority established by state statute. The restrictive nature of Virginia's approach becomes clear when compared to Maryland's Police Accountability Act of 2021, which required all counties to create police accountability boards with greater authority, including the power to administer oaths, issue subpoenas as necessary, and to complete their work. Prince George's County Police Accountability Board, operating under this law, handled over 100 misconduct complaints and has strong reporting requirements that show the effectiveness of properly empowered oversight bodies. Now, although legal authority limitations are significant, most importantly, the panel faces challenges in community awareness and participation that significantly impact its effectiveness. Many residents are unaware of the panel's existence or how to file complaints. This lack of community awareness reflects broader systemic issues documented across civilian oversight bodies nationwide, where research consistently highlights public visibility and accessible complaint processes as the key factors for meaningful oversight. In 2024, our annual report acknowledged ongoing efforts to increase community awareness of its roles and activities through improved community engagement, of which this is part, and a stronger presence at local events, which is an ongoing process. The report pointed out that through additional marketing efforts and increased presence at community events, more citizens have become aware of PCRP, and the number of complaints reflects this greater awareness. So the number of complaints went up from last year to this year, which we were glad to see as far as from the perspective of people knowing about us, but there's more work to be done. However, despite these efforts, community participation still remains limited, which hinders the panel's ability to gather comprehensive information about police-community interactions and weakens its role as an accountability tool. Research on the effectiveness of civilian oversight reveals that barriers to community engagement create a cycle that undermines effectiveness. Without ongoing community awareness and involvement, which is where you come in, our oversight bodies cannot build trust or collect the comprehensive data needed for meaningful accountability. The dual limitation of restricted legal authority and limited community awareness creates structural impediments that significantly undermine the panel's potential effectiveness, regardless of the dedication of individual panel members or our staff. These systemic challenges require coordinated responses that address both the limitations of the legal framework and the deficits in community engagement simultaneously. So, how can we do better? Well, it begins with my presence here tonight, which I am grateful for. But I want to emphasize that the panel's mission is also to remain objective. The relationship between the NAACP and civilian oversight bodies requires a careful balance between collaboration and independence. The NAACP's primary goal of promoting civil rights and fighting discrimination aligns with the objectives of civilian oversight, which emphasize accountability and transparency. However, the panel must stay impartial and avoid giving the impression of supporting any specific advocacy organization. We walk a fine line of trust between the community, stakeholders, and law enforcement as representatives of the Board of Supervisors. And that is a very difficult, very narrow path. Effective collaboration can focus on shared educational initiatives related to police accountability, joint community outreach programs, and sharing of best practices from other jurisdictions. Your organization's extensive community networks can help increase awareness of the panel's complaint process and services. However, the panel must ensure that its review processes remain impartial and evidence-based, regardless of the source of complaints or community pressure. The Illinois model offers a valuable framework for what I'm describing. Now, this was created through a partnership between the state NAACP in Illinois and the Association of Chiefs of Police, which outlined 10 shared principles to improve police community relations, and similar collaborative approaches in Fairfax County could build common ground while building the panel's independence. So I want to talk a little bit now about training. And this is training for the public with the idea of just bringing up, community awareness, but not only that, but also preparing the community for service on our panel. And so my focus during my chairmanship has been on making sure that we have increased our training for ourselves and for the community. So this next point, so this training has been one of the key pillars of my tenure, which began in March. Professional training is a vital gap in the effectiveness of civilian oversight, and this panel can gain from more training. NAACP has established core competencies for oversight, practitioners, and again, NAACP is the National Association of Civilian Oversight of Law Enforcement. So their core competencies include knowledge of civilian oversight principles, investigative techniques, law, policing policies and procedures, and remediation strategies. We typically have training, have a trainer come and visit us, or we can go online looking at reading, listening to webinars, or what we do also too is attend their annual conference. This year's conference is in Minnesota and will be in October, and I will be there. Together with the panel liaison and the panel vice chair, we have developed a training curriculum based on NAACP's core competencies, and we have taken advantage of training opportunities through FCPD's Citizens Academy. Of course, leading by example, I completed the Force Science Analyst Certification course that was in July, and I plan to earn the NAACP Certified Practitioner of Oversight certification this fall. I believe a robust training program for panel members should include foundational training. All new members must complete a comprehensive orientation that covers constitutional law, police procedures, investigative techniques, ethics, and the specific authority and limitations of the panel. That's something that we are working on, but that's something that has not existed to date. So we're going through our growing pains. Ongoing professional development. As we've seen in our professional lives, no matter where we work, I believe panel members should undergo annual training updates on evolving oversight practices, legal changes, and emerging issues in police accountability. Specialized skills training. Members should develop expertise in areas such as reviewing body camera footage, understanding use of force policies, and analyzing investigation reports and conducting public meetings. So how do we evolve? So I've talked a little bit about where we started from, what we've kind of built, where we stand now, and how we've grown a little bit, and some of the challenges that we've had. So the panel's current limitations necessitate structural reforms to enhance its effectiveness based on best practices from other jurisdictions and NAACP recommendations. Several improvements merit consideration. One is expanded investigative authority. You've heard me hit this point at least 2 or 3 times already. The panel should seek authority to conduct independent investigations, and this might include the power to interview witnesses, review evidence, and hire external investigative consultants. That's something that doesn't exist now. That's where we would like to track our growth to, similar to what's done in Chicago and a couple of other jurisdictions. But to get there, we have to train up. We have to build our skill sets. So, that's why under my chairmanship has been a focus on the training. Subpoena power is another consideration. Virginia should consider legislation similar to Maryland's Police Accountability Act, which grants local oversight bodies subpoena authority to compel the production of documents and testimony of witnesses. This will remove the current reliance on police department cooperation. Again, not that we have a problem getting the information that we need from FCPD, but it would be better for us to have the authority to subpoena, if needed. So that's something that's happened, that has to happen on the state level. And so again, that's where we would rely on partners such as yourself to help us advocate for that. Next point is proactive oversight functions. Beyond simply reviewing complaints reactively, the panel should develop the ability for proactive policy analysis, data review, and trend identification. We are building our ability to track data now, but again, this is something that we are growing towards. Enhanced community engagement. Can't hit this enough. The panel should develop systematic community outreach programs, which we have a lot of. Half of the meetings during this term, my term, which is 12 months, half of them are public meetings. But consistency is important. And that's what's going to help us get the word out. But then also we need your help with that, getting the word out. Most significantly, though, resource improvement. Proper oversight needs sufficient funding for skilled staff, for training, for technology, and for community outreach. So that's a tough conversation in an environment where obviously tax revenue in Fairfax County has taken a hit. And for the last 2 years, we've had to reduce our already tiny budget. But we do want to focus on being funded sufficiently. As I indicated before, the panel is developing a comprehensive system to measure performance, encompassing complaint processing times, community satisfaction, policy implementation, and other effectiveness indicators. Periodic evaluations by external experts can identify areas for improvement. So that's, again, another growth area for us. So as I close, effective civilian oversight requires continuous evolution and adaptation to meet the changing needs of our community and the challenges of modern policing. And that becomes very, very, very important as we are dealing with the environment that we're dealing with in our community today. We have from the federal government, this implementation of immigration policy, which is something that's going to be problematic. It has not hit our community yet, but it's certainly something that's on the radar and something that we need to be prepared for. Fairfax County has established a practical foundation for civilian oversight through the Police Civilian Review Panel and the Office of the Independent Police Auditor. However, we must confront the structural limitations that prevent these bodies from achieving their full potential as instruments of accountability and community trust. The path forward requires strategic action in 3 critical areas, as I identify them, that build upon the collaborative spirit between yourselves, the NAACP, and civilian oversight while addressing systemic barriers to meaningful police accountability. So step one, actionable step one, enhance communication and strategic partnership. NAACP and the panel must formalize their collaboration through regular structured communication channels while maintaining the panel's independence. This partnership should include quarterly joint meetings between the NAACP leadership and panel members to discuss emerging community concerns, share information about police accountability trends, and coordinate educational initiatives. This strategic partnership should also include coordinated advocacy for legislative changes at the state level. Virginia currently lacks comprehensive police accountability legislation as found in states like Maryland, which grants local oversight bodies subpoena authority and enhanced investigative powers. Joint advocacy efforts between the NAACP and civilian oversight bodies could help build momentum for state level reforms that will strengthen local accountability mechanisms. So what's the next actionable step? The panel could use your help with community outreach effort that goes beyond traditional meetings to actively involve diverse communities across Fairfax County. This should include establishing district level community liaisons, holding regular town halls in multiple languages, and forming partnerships with faith-based organizations, community centers, and civic groups. At the same time, both organizations should advocate for a comprehensive training program that current and future panel members would have based on NAACP standards. This program should cover basic training in constitutional law, police procedures, investigative techniques, and ethics, followed by ongoing professional development opportunities. What's the last actionable item? Structural reform. NAACP and the panel must unite to advocate for fundamental structural reforms that address the panel's current limitations. This includes seeking expanded investigative authority, subpoena power, and sufficient funding through our county level advocacy and state level efforts. The Board of Supervisors should receive a detailed reform proposal that includes independent investigation authority when internal affairs reviews are insufficient, the power to interview witnesses and review evidence independently, and the ability to hire external investigative consultants when necessary. At the state level, both organizations should advocate for Virginia to follow Maryland's example. As I've indicated earlier, resource enhancement is another vital part of this. The panel should support budget increases that match its responsibilities, including funding for professional staff, advanced case management systems, data analysis tools, and comprehensive community outreach. So moving forward, the foundation for effective civilian oversight already exists in Fairfax County. However, realizing its full potential requires ongoing commitment from community organizations, county leaders, and state policymakers. The partnership between the NAACP and the panel serves as a powerful force for promoting police accountability. However, this collaboration needs to be strategic, well-organized, and focused on achieving tangible goals. Success will be measured not only by the number of cases reviewed or recommendations made, but also by the community's trust in police accountability mechanisms, the responsiveness of law enforcement to legitimate concerns, and the overall improvement in police-community relations. The work of civilian oversight is never finished. It requires ongoing vigilance, adaptation, and a firm commitment to the principles of justice, transparency, and equity that both the NAACP and the panel support. Through improved communication, broader community engagement, and strategic efforts focused on structural reform, we can shift civilian oversight from a reactive review process to a proactive force for police accountability and community trust, most importantly. The era of small-scale changes is passing us. Proper police accountability demands bold actions and sustained collaboration between civil rights groups and oversight agencies working together toward a shared goal of justice. I want to thank you for your opportunity to share this evening with you. Thank you for being on this kind of long journey, but I wanted to make sure I hit most of my major points. But thank you for the opportunity to speak before you, and I look forward to this continued relationship.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garner, for that insightful background on the panel's work, about its weaknesses, its strengths, and some ideas for moving forward. We really appreciate that. President Zimmerman, I believe we have time for a few questions, correct?
Yes, we have time for maybe 3 or 4 questions.
Okay, we have one question in the chat from Les. He says, can you provide some statistics on cases filed with the Civilian Review Panel and what percentage of that total resulted in a finding of wrongdoing against FCPD?
Thank you for that question. No, we don't have hard statistics. What I do know is, just anecdotally from my experience, is we handled roughly 11 cases. We investigated about 11 cases last year, and that's calendar year 2024. Of those cases, we didn't agree with findings on maybe 1 or 2 of those. We found some specific, we found some issues that we went back to FCPD about. They were responsive to our recommendations about policy, and even investigating, additionally. I can't talk about specific cases. That's something that we cannot do, but so I have to remain as general as possible.
Arthur Purse, you had a question?
Yeah. Thank you for your presentation. How much more money does the panel need, and can you provide 1 or 2 concrete examples of what the panel would do with more money?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, as I pointed out, the biggest thing is training. NAACP training is costing us about $6,600, and that's this year. And that's because, I've advocated for, with, our panel liaison and our panel vice chair, for increased training for panel members. We haven't had a formal training program in quite some time. So that's one significant use of more money is training, sending people to conferences. Example, the force science certification that I completed last month, that was nearly $2,000. And that was just one person. That was just me. We did have also a representative from the Office of the Independent Investigator, Independent Auditor attend as well. So that was $2,000 apiece. So that's, and so if we are, 0.2% of, the FCPD budget, then yeah, and they're cutting us, 10% almost every year for the last 2 years. You can see how that, causes some tension.
So would $50,000, $100,000 be a big thing, or is that just a drop in the bucket?
Well, at this point, anything would help, honestly. But the harder answers, I would direct you to the panel liaison's office. The panel liaison has the specifics of the budget for as it's being proposed for next year, and he's in those talks now. So I would say contact Craig Miles for the specific hard numbers.
Thank you.
Mike, you had a question, Michael Bryan?
Yes, hi, Dr. Garner. Thank you for that insightful presentation. It really gives us a view into the challenges that you all have. There's also a question in the chat that is similar to what I was going to ask. There have been several high-profile police issues within the last couple of years, the killing of Timothy Johnson, the killing of Sidney Wilson. And I know you can't speak specifically about any individual case, but wondering if you could just walk us through how your panel was involved in kind of like reviewing those cases, making recommendations, whatever. How did that work? Just kind of the nuts and bolts.
Sure. So once again, for use of force, police officer involved shootings, that's handled by the independent police auditor's office. So that would not come to, to the panel. It wouldn't come to the police civilian review panel unless there was, after the investigation, and the stakeholder was not happy with the overall investigation, then they would initiate a complaint, and that's how it would come to us. So it wouldn't come to us as specifically an investigation into the officer involved shooting. So that leads me to something that I think that it's not understood very clearly. We have a very narrow mandate. You notice that when I described what our mandate was, it was about the investigation, and it's not about re-adjudicating the substance of the investigation. Now, for findings, we can disagree with findings, and under that umbrella, but we don't re-adjudicate, and that's what a lot of the public kind of misunderstand. We don't take testimony, and we don't re-adjudicate. So it's a focus on the investigation process itself. I find that to be narrow. That is my opinion. That's not the official position of everyone on the panel, but it's something that I find is rather narrowly drawn. So going back to your question then about, certain officer involved shootings, well, that would go to the independent police auditor. That would be reviewed after an Internal Affairs Bureau investigation. He reviews the report and makes his assessments. And Richard Schott is the independent police auditor here for Fairfax County.
I see. Okay. Well, but maybe then, putting those two cases aside, perhaps you can just walk us through how the panel gets involved in any particular police case. How do you get drawn in?
If it's about misconduct, abuse of authority, or from the angle of making a policy recommendation, that's how we would get involved. So a lot of times what we, the cases that we see, a lot of times, most of the time, what the cases are, it's an incident, it's investigated, the person who initiates the complainant, initiates, the complaint based on their dissatisfaction with the investigation. That's when it comes to us. So they either, voice that and formally write it up to FCPD, or they can come to us directly. And there's an intake process for that. That initiates a process where we review everything that Internal Affairs has in the file. We review everything: body-worn camera, witness interviews, and everything. And then we assess whether the investigation was, the criteria, accurate, complete, thorough, and such. We do not make recommendations on discipline. That's not something that's in our mandate, and so that's not anything that we even know about. That happens separately. So our focus is primarily on the investigation process itself. I hope that answers.
I think that helps. Thank you. I see that Richard Schott is also on the call tonight.
Okay.
So I don't know if he has anything he might want to add, but I'm sure we'd be open to hearing from him.
You're open to quickly introducing yourself, Richard, so the community can see who you are. We would appreciate that.
Yeah, sure. I'm Richard Schott. I've been the independent police auditor since the office was established in 2017. And I'll just add one thing that Bryon has not mentioned yet about use of force cases. After I've completed my report, I always periodically, and it usually is about 3 or 4, maybe 5 times per calendar year, I'll make a presentation of all of the use of force reports that I've completed since my last presentation to them. And the purpose for that, and I think this goes to Mr. O'Brien's question earlier, the purpose for that is for really twofold: for any panel member to specifically ask any questions of me and follow up on those, but maybe more important, regardless of what my opinion or conclusion of the investigation was, any panel member and the panel as a whole is free to make comments about my reporting and or make recommendations based on what they've heard from my review of the investigation. So while the panel does not review the investigation itself of a use of force, they are perfectly entitled to make recommendations on use of force matters. So they definitely have a role in use of force investigations. And I'm sorry to ramble a little bit, but I hope that it addressed some issues y'all might have picked up.
No, great. Thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Meredith.
You. If there are no further questions, thank you again, Dr. Garner, for coming to our meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Richard.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you so much to our honored guests and for our legal redress chair and legal redress committee who facilitated our meeting this evening. Make sure you come back next month. We will have Secretary O'Brien. He will be facilitating next month's meeting. And can you briefly let the people know who's going to be speaking?
I'm happy to do that, Madam President. Next month, at the request of one of our members, Diana Rhodes, we will have Joan Trumpauer Mulholland, a civil rights pioneer who lives in the Northern Virginia area and was involved in many of the civil rights demonstrations of the 1960s. She will be here to tell us about her story a bit, but also help us figure out how to manage through these complicated times we live in now.
Thank you so much. And with that said, that concludes the August general membership meeting. If you all need anything, I will stay on for the next 5 or 10 minutes. If you are interested in joining a committee, I will stay on with you and we can talk about it. Other than that, see you next month.